All right, what's going on, guys? Long time no see. I don't know what happened, dude. Every time I try to go live, my settings always change on something. So today we're looking at Twitter with the light on instead of dark mode, and it's gonna bug me, and it's probably gonna bug you guys, but that's okay. Life ain't fair, I guess. Okay, so I thought I'd just start off with a search for the keyword Asta. I'm gonna try and refresh this. There we go. All right. Just to see what people are talking about. So this chapter has been getting a lot of good reviews, a lot of bad reviews, and not so many in betweens. We're kind of split this week, as I feel we are most weeks anyway. So I just want to see what most of the talk is about anyway. Why do I don't know. Anytime I ever search a keyword, I get all of the Spanish speaking stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I mean, look, what is this? That is what is that, Tagalog? Like what setting do I need to put on to like stop this? It's literally it's almost solely anything but English. Here we go. English. Was her remembered Asta's mom. Okay. No, about. I thought this was kind of cool. Out of everything that happened in the chapter, Lucifero finally acknowledges the fact that he was definitely zero diffed by some human lady at his first attempt into coming to the physical realm. The first attempt, as far as we know, at least. And I think it's kind of cool that he noticed as it seems to be like he's making contact with Asta, and I think last chapter he noticed that his gravity wasn't really having much effect. So it would definitely seem that the anti magic is, taking away from his gravity. And he's noticing, and the only other time that's happened would have had to have been around Licita. So I think that's kind of cool that he remembered that way. But if I'm being perfectly honest, um, he should have been able to acknowledge this a lot sooner within this arc rather than now. Not to say that this timing is off, but I don't think I don't know how to put this. I just don't feel like we had to wait all this time for him to say something about it. I think there was at least one or two other opportunities there. But I thought that was kind of cool, though. We finally got that confirmation, which definitely puts the Belphegor theory to bed. Yeah, I'm not finding anything good. What? I can't even read any of this stuff. This is like a joke. What is happening? Is it just that a bunch of Spanish speaking people are like posting about it right now, or is it my settings? And we got Japanese up there. Yeah, like I really don't understand why this is like that. Here, let's go for the hashtag. Let's see what I can pull up here. What did you guys think about the chapter? Because, like I said, it's kind of here and there. People like it, people don't. I'm not. I have a stance, but I'm not extreme. I think I would fall in the middle. Um, let's see. A lot of art. Why do we have art and hashtag BC spoilers from like 5 hours ago? Is that just for clout, or it doesn't really make sense? Um, yep, that would be a cool colored panel, but I believe Val did it already. Um, why are people like recycling this? Yeah, that's all the art I'm seeing today is just Asta giving this katana back. Do you guys want Asta to give the katana back? I mean, it makes sense with his character. He tried to give his whole grimoire back to a dying elf or a dead elf. But I mean, like, what sense would it make at this point? Uh, right, okay, Asta and Liebe look like twins here, but Asta looks more like Alan, and I can't unsee it. Yeah, he does. I mean, everyone feels that way. There's something more going on with that story for sure. I do personally feel like although he does look like Asta, I'm not saying he does not look like Asta. I do think he does look like the Vermilion. He does have that really pointy nose. If you see that profile of him where it's him and Xenon just before they go on that mission, he definitely looks a lot more like a Vermilion than he does to Asta. Again, not to say that he doesn't look like Asta at all. Let me look at the chat real quick. Hello, hello, hello. Dylan, yeah, I know you enjoyed it. Yeah, Twitter's been whack with the yeah, Twitter is notoriously whack as far as the TL goes. I've been off of it for a while. Black Knight, you did not like the chapter? Is that what you're saying? No. The art is from the new volume that came out in Japan. The art of Asta giving the sword back? Do you think Dramalak will absorb Lucifero on some giant? No. I do not. I do not. We'll talk about it later into the stream. What I think is happening. Austin Liebe, Breast Brothers. But there's... Yeah, I think we just have to look at just the plain and simple facts. I know a lot of my theories have been going in, like, into not really fringe stuff. It's still a straight line. It's just that I don't think Tabata is really digging as deep into this lore as I originally thought, which is kind of a shame because there's a really cool story behind all of it. Not to say that this story won't come out as good. But it's definitely, especially these more recent chapters, they have been showing me that we're really just going with the straight, like, what'll happen in a typical shonen sort of thing, with a slight twist here and there, but nothing too exaggerated. But yeah, we'll talk about what I think is going to happen with Lucifero. I don't think he's down for the count at all. If he is, man, I will have to full on say that Tabata would have dropped the ball on it. But yeah, I don't think Lucifero's down at all. I think. I mean, let's look at the picture again. I made a post about it, but just Lucifero's affect here, just like his facial expression, everything. It doesn't look like a demon that's in danger of dying right now. Like, yeah, he became mincemeat for sure. But along with this, he's just realizing that this kid in front of him, and now, well, this kid and this devil kid in front of him were pretty much products of Licita. And the one person that definitely stopped him from coming into the physical world are now here in front of him again. And it's like he cannot escape this. And I mean, if we go in a very straight line, let's think about just Lucifer more, right? He turns against God because he doesn't want to bow down to humans. So then he's cast out from heaven and forced to live in hell. Now, this fall brought down him and several other angels, of course, and then they became demons, a perverted version of their prior selves. So, like, we've been over this. The gravity magic definitely makes sense as far as the fall goes. I think it's pretty shallow, in my opinion. But then again, we do have the gravity in quotes. There's a possibility of more, and again, that's something that we're going to talk about later into this. It's the video that I'm recording now, or about to drop. So it'll be just a little spoiler for those who decide to stick around later. So you don't have to go watch that video in full. But what was I saying here? Yeah, the way he looks, he's just realizing, like, dude, like, everything I do does not seem to work out the way I need it to. And I'll leave that for right now. because there's a lot more, and we're going to describe Lucifero's exact magical attribute that doesn't necessarily fall under the guise of gravity, but gravity is involved in it. Let me get back to this chat real quick. Nah, he should keep it. I'm sorry. What should he keep? Oh, the katana. Yeah, I think he should keep the katana too. Like, I don't know why people want him to give stuff back. It's like his, I would say, his second best sword right now. We also got some Noct and Yami art, and yeah, the sword is art from it. Okay. You like the chapter, Anton? Just waiting to see what happens to Lucifer in the next chapter. And he doesn't look phased. Yeah, he doesn't look phased at all. But yeah, Anton, I agree. I think the next chapter, I don't think, I know, it has to be decisive on like what is going on, what will be happening moving forward in this series. We got a lot of content that I guess people just didn't like for some reason. I personally like the whole Licita stuff, and realize like all of this stuff, like that flashback, the feelings, and all of that stuff, that happened in a moment's time. And in that moment's time, Oz is able to gather all of these feelings, experience everything that Liebe was able to experience with Licita, and it became a part of him in that instant. And I don't know. I think that really hits hard for me. Like you kind of live a lifetime in less than a second, and you snap back and you're still in a fight, in the biggest fight of your life, in anyone's life in this series, and I guess that just did not hit for people, and I don't know what it takes for people to really, to really buy into that. I really think Tabata did a good job there. I did really like, if I can find the English version of that line, see that, like this, like imagine, like you never met your mother, but now you know, and you feel this, because Liebe felt this, that she loves you no matter what, and she only gave you away because she really could not take care of you. Like, this is love. And the fact that Liebe is even there, in this union, like, he's literally blessing Asta with all of this. Like, Liebe, although he's a devil, has given Asta more will and drive to live and succeed. And now he's blessed him with meeting his mom, and albeit not in real time, and it's not an in-depth like connection, like a very interpersonal one. He knows how she feels, and I mean, I think this really completes, what Asta was missing. Not that I guess he never really yearned for it throughout the series, but I think now that he knows that he wasn't just some worthless kid with no magic that no one could ever love, to know that someone was actually there and loved him regardless of his circumstance, I think that really, really means a lot. And again, it's a shame that most of the fandom just doesn't really care about stuff like that. They want to see anything else. Like, I don't know. I just find some of the wants kind of basic, and there's a story here, and Tabata's trying to tell it, and I do feel like people are just not trying to hear it. Let me get back to chat. And one thing I noticed, that Lucifer was bleeding while all the other devils disappeared completely. Yeah, that's true. I don't think we've ever had devils bleed. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's a bit strange. But I guess that comes from, I would say, well, no, it wouldn't be fair, actually. Because I was going to say, I felt like the Dark Triad ritual would give way to these devils getting more real bodies, given that they have, oh, Anton, this is you. Let's see. Sorry. Now that Lucifero's down, what do you think Adremalek is going to do? Leave the area. It's going to do something to Lucifero, laugh at Lucifero, or is about to attack. What do I pick? I don't think he's gonna laugh. I think he'll make a snide comment, but I don't think he'll laugh. But if he laughs, it'll be coupled in with one of these things. He's not gonna leave the area. I don't think so. Something to Lucifer is so broad. I don't know. I don't think he'll attack anyone. I'll just go with a broad something to Lucifero. People think he's gonna laugh. Okay. I mean, he might. If he does, I think he's going to follow it up with one of those other things, though. What does this say? I don't remember what I was saying, by the way. So that's gone. What is this guy saying? Cool. Okay. No, I've said this before, but I don't think I've ever been this excited or interested for the next Black Clover chapter ever. Okay. Cool. What else is here? Oh, that's cool. If this thing can load properly. This is really cool. I like this. You got a bit of everything in there. Going right into that final blow. That's everything that mattered. I love it. Is it supposed to be blurry? It's supposed to be blurry. Okay. Cool. Yeah. That's a cool picture. Nice. Who made that? Kirito. All right. This is something that I hope just happens next chapter. The singularity stuff, man. It's been bugging me for quite some time, just because it's making Dante look like a pure awesome ass genius when it comes to Lucifero's own magic. I just don't see why a singularity wouldn't solve literally every problem he came against. And I know whenever I brought this up, people would be like, "Oh, well, he's only 50% manifested, blah blah blah." Like, well, I get it. Look at what he's done. He's not done anything special with his gravity magic. I don't think he needs 100%. I mean, I could definitely be wrong, but I just feel like my thought process here is like you have let's say a shot glass, and then you have a giant bottle of alcohol. That bottle of alcohol has like so many what's it called, BAC in it, right? And you can only put so much into a shot before it overflows. So Dante would be the shot glass, while Lucifero would be the giant bottle of alcohol. You can keep pouring into the shot glass for sure, but it's going to reach a limit. And as the Dramalite clearly states here, and as the Dryad stated prior to that, humans definitely have a limit as far as how much mana they can contain, and how close they can get to it. I don't think Dante, because okay, what we're saying in this is that Lucifero only being at 50% and not being able to do a singularity says that Dante at what was that, 90% or 95% surpassed what we see right now, and that's just not the case. So I don't think there's a really good reason for why this singularity hasn't happened yet. So I'm hoping that with this loss, Lucifero just kind of throws up a giant fucking singularity, just to get rid of everything. I feel like he should have all that anger that he displayed for Yami and Octanasta, and I think as well, about killing their families and everyone they know, should go towards just like, what, screw everything. Like, I'm out. Who cares? Let's just destroy the entire thing. But he's not, for whatever reason. And I think that's also something that we're lacking in this series right now, is an overarching antagonist, and that should have been Lucifero, and it still should be, but we definitely don't have an agenda from any devil at all, aside from wanting to just kill, and that kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. We definitely need more substance from the devils, for sure. What do we say? Mick, He bled because he has Monica's magic. Just kidding, but I'm excited to see if he'll get up. That's originally kind of what I thought, since all the arrays were mixed into one. For the Advent, all the devils would be given flesh, blood, and bone. I think the fandom as a general is tired of Tabata bouncing around villains and not having to. Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely see that, and I get that frustration for sure. We definitely need a villain. But to be honest, I do think that here's the issue with the fandom, I think. And I'm only saying this because I feel like I can get behind what I think Tabata is doing. I think he's playing a very long game. Remember, he's setting up for a very long-running series, and he did quote that he wanted to run it as long as Naruto did, or somewhere in that spectrum. So when we had the Elf arc, we had the Sephiroth, which is just one side to this whole thing. Now we have the Clipot, and this is the other side to this. So there has to be a third part to this, which would include both of those. So I do think this kind of sets up for something else. And again, it's probably not a popular thought. People don't like the idea of that, just because it means they have to wait longer for a more fleshed out story. But I think I mean, people want to go from A and B directly to Z, and we need everything else in between. And part of that has to do with the age group, I think. Very impatient, young readers, and that's not bad. I mean, we were all like that. But, at the same time, I think we have to understand that there's a possibility that the trigger just has not been pulled yet. So I think just waiting the next chapter and waiting for things to actually finalize and settle instead of jumping the gun on saying like, well, it's over, I guess I'm mad, I hate this series, is, we have to kind of reason with ourselves at some point. Let me continue here. Dante used multiple spells at once and was natural at using Lucifero's magic as if it was his own. Absolutely. Yeah, the fandom wants Lucifero to be badass, more badass. Disappointed in the Triad and Morris. I personally think that Tabata is playing the long game with the villains. Right. Morris is not done. I don't know why people are doing that. The Triad is not done. It doesn't make sense. Okay. Again, we just have to wait for things to kind of settle up. I really like this coloring. This is very nice. Very, very nice. Sorry. But we included so much backstory, so much foreshadowing with that fourth Zogratis, and we don't even know the circumstances of the Triad's possession. Like, this does not look like the possession that Noct has been through. It's not even the possession that Asta went through. This is something entirely different that I've also gone over. But in short, remember in Dante's Inferno, since people like to reference it a lot, Dante makes it a point that when he gets to a certain level of hell, he learns that every single human is naturally possessed. Already, off the bat, they're naturally possessed. And again, in short, there's a whole video on it. In short, I feel like the Triad gave in to these possessions. They found out that was what was happening with the human condition, and they kind of like tripled down on it. And they just so happened to have been paired with some pretty high-ranking devils. Oh, this one's really nice. I gotta make my own one of these. I just get really lazy and like cop out halfway through sometimes. Let me get back. Let's see. It took Patri a little while to get going. Absolutely did. I've been saying this arc, we are going to have to be very patient and not judge until it is done. And plus, Morris has something against family, since he said he doesn't need it anymore. True. I would like Andromeda to be able to rebuild Lucifero's body next chapter. That could happen. Remember, Andromeda is, in lore, a sun god, a Canaanite sun god. So I think where we're getting like acid and stuff could just be that he might have some form of sun magic. And not to say it would look anything like Yuno's father's sun magic, but who knows? It could look like that. We don't even know what it looked like, but I would assume they would still look kind of different. But yeah, who knows? Maybe. The Black Clover fandom are ass. They don't have faith in Tabata. I wouldn't say they're ass, but bipolar would be a more fitting word for sure. I see so many like hardcore like Tabata can do no wrong to like, dude, why am I reading this series? Tabata is like the worst writer ever. Blah blah blah. Like from the same people, really. Oh look, it's Mick. Is that Mick? That's not Mick. That's Michi. Yeah, that's not him. I don't care about you what you have to say. Then, oh, I genuinely wish I could rewatch Black Clover for the first time. Okay, yeah, I haven't watched Black Clover in a minute. I need to. If a drama like doesn't strut like a peacock next chapter, yeah, maybe that'll be part of his like magic, like when he gets into his emotions, or like powers up, he'll gain more color. I think a colorful demon is we're long overdue for that for sure, because they've all just been black and white. Meh. Not to say the designs aren't like they don't go hard because they do, but I think we just need a little more variety. No one's really talking about. Oh, dude, what is that? This is why I don't scroll through Twitter, you guys. You guys saw nothing. Lord, we need your power again, please. Why? I'm begging you, Time Devil. Time Devil, can't we jump straight to next week? I give you my arm and I see what you did there. That's cool. How long have we been doing this stream? I'm ready to kind of talk about the fate of Lucifero and what I think is going to be happening. Anton, again, serious question. Would anyone be mad if Lucifero stands back up next chapter? No, I would not. I would not. I'm expecting it. Alright. I think we've been going for a minute here. Yeah, why not? Okay. So let's talk about Lucifero. Let's see if we can get some cool pictures of Lucifero up here while we do this. So as you guys know, I like to kind of read up on like the actual lore for everything to try and get some answers and make some connections as well as like just gain some general knowledge over this stuff because I'm actually interested in it. Maybe I'll attach Black Clover on there. I don't know why. We would just get random stuff from Lucifero on here. But okay. What I think is happening with Lucifero, and let's start here. We saw Lucifero in two places, with Morris and with Dante. And we really didn't like take any time to find out like why that even happened. It doesn't make sense when it comes down to it. Because we just have not seen any devil so far, have two hosts. We just never looked at it that way, and I saw a few like as far as explanations go. People and WK started this one was the fact that Lucifero from Dante's Inferno has three faces at the very bottom at the ninth circle, so he could have up to three hosts, and that's I think it still could be valid if we're going that direction. And then I also saw other people just say something to the effect of he's the king of demons. He can essentially just do what he wants, and I think that's just kind of lackluster. It's kind of like a kid, or an adult telling a kid to do something. The kid goes like, "Why?" "Well, because I said so." Like, it's not a legitimate reason. Like, there's no reason, to tell the kid whatever you told him. So here's my thought here, is that in lore, it's not so widely discussed that Lucifer was born alongside another angel, and it's kind of debated within like religious communities who came first, whether this being or Lucifero or Lucifer or this being or that being and Lucifer. But it ultimately doesn't really matter because his position remains the same, and this devil is it goes by the name Belial, and we've kind of talked about Belial, but we haven't really talked about Belial as a demon himself, just more as the state of Belial. Those are very different things. You have someone who can become Belial, and then someone, and then the actual entity Belial. So as far as the devil goes, it was said that when Lucifer was created, Belial was created right next to him. And whether he's older or younger doesn't really matter, but it's still debated to this day. Now the thing about Belial is that where do I want to start here? I'll start with this. He was the original ruler of hell. It wasn't Lucifer to begin with. It was Belial. And so when we go back to Black Clover, we look at Lucifer in two different places. What we have is what I find to be Belial, because Belial in occult lore, and not even just occult lore actually, Belial is stated to have, when you see him, appears before you as two separate angels. As two of them. So, to have them both in two places at once and then attributing this to be Belial makes a ton more sense than just, yep, Lucifero can just do what he does. So on top of this, we have a couple of other things to consider here. Let's talk about Morris and how he was able to, in quotes, speed up this advent for Lucifero, at least. So Morris says something along the lines of essentially manipulating the structure of the Clipot to be able to bring Lucifer's realm up towards the second, and that just doesn't make sense. Just straight up doesn't make sense. So let's think about the seals that we have. We opened the first, and then we were waiting on the second one. But as we were waiting on the second one, Vonica's rays disappeared, Xenon's rays disappeared, and so has Dante. So whether or not it was sped up, the speed of it has to have at least equalized, at the very least equalized. Now, I get it. Morris's magic is reconstruction, whatever. I forgot what it's actually called. But to have Lucifero for the amount of time that he did, and yes, he does say he's a talent for devils, but to pull off a feat as great as grabbing the very last realm of the Clipot and bringing it up towards the second, and I guess combining it with the second, doesn't make sense for several reasons. Number one, we all see that the last level of the Clipot contains 3 supreme devils. This means that 2 others would have to have come out with him, and it just didn't happen. And I've been saying this for a while. On top of that, it doesn't make sense for the last level demon to be constricted to the devils of the second seal at all, because he legitimately said, as long as the second seal opens, I can manifest. Why was that not the case with the first seal? If he's the king of hell, then all of these demons should be under his rule. But that might not be the case. So when we look at Crowley's Clipot, and so look, I'm going to be putting out some other videos talking about the new book that I got that talks about the macrocosm and microcosm of all the worlds. There are 3. And it has to do with the tree that we see. It's also used in Full Metal Alchemist, and I believe in Dr. Stone. And it really describes everything that's happening here. But back to just why this doesn't make sense for it to be the last level. On Crowley's Clipbot, the guy who wrote this book, Crowley actually looked up to. So I'm using Crowley's insight, but also using this other author, or mystic, if you will, his work, and kind of combining the two to see what I have to omit and what I have to consider. So on Crowley's Clipbot, the realm of Samael is shared by one, Adramelech, and two, Belial. So now it makes more sense as to why we needed the second gate to just open for this devil to finally be able to, have a whole vessel for himself and do what he just did. The thing is that Belial is not just a lower ranking supreme devil. Like I said, this was the first and original ruler of hell. So something different would have to be happening here. As Adramelech was able to just come out in a body of his own, Belial would have to exist still on a different plane, on a supernal plane. So those last three devils should not have an actual vessel, according to just how the structure of both trees go. Anything above Chesed on the light tree, or anything above Astaroth or the Gagshabla on the Clipotic tree, do not have any physical body. So it still holds together this thought of this could be Belial. Now let's look at what Lucifero's been doing. This surprise attack with Noct and Yami with could have worked if those wings didn't turn to arms. And for me, it does look like okay, he could be becoming just like two separate beings. What is the other explanation to this? Maybe it's because of his contract with Dante. He was able to have some type of body magic, or even with Morris, just reconfiguring what his body's actually doing. But this does heavily imply that he is holding back quite a bit. And the reason for that, who knows? Because we did see that he was legitimately struggling to try to get to Asta to kill him. And it doesn't make sense to struggle at all if you're this massively powerful being that can do all of this. So there's something more happening here. What else can we touch on here? Because there's so much happening. Okay. So I do want to talk about Lucifero's actual powers here. I'm a huge fan of Supernatural. And if you've been following me on Twitter for a while, I've made a lot of parallels from Supernatural to Black Clover and vice versa. And I've always really loved the idea of devils and demons in general just living their punishment. And in any story, every demon has an omen. So this is how we know what demon is in the immediate area affecting the events of that area, is because if we see dead fish in a lake, we know that this is fucking Asafrax or whatever demon it is, because that's the omen. Whenever you see dead fish, that's where that devil is. So as far as the gravity goes, I will not let go of the quotes, guys. I will not, because it was so intentional and there's no other reason for this. I find it a misclassification. While gravity does seem to suit what Lucifero does, I don't think it is the umbrella of, what he actually does. And I've been saying Vril for a while, and that could be the case. That'd be really interesting, but given that this would be Belial, it wouldn't fit. But there's another source that I do reference quite a bit on this channel, and that source is called Paradise Lost. And it talks about every single important devil after the fall, during and after the fall, about how they're going to strike back to God and Earth and all of that stuff. Essentially moving the battlefield to Earth. And when it gets to Belial, they say that he's very well spoken, and this is true to lore as well, which is why I use Paradise Lost as one of my sources. They say Belial's very well spoken, but he's also evil for no fucking reason at all, and can be very malicious. So this falls under that two separate beings thing, where we see Lucifero be very calm, very tactful, very good with his words, and then we see the other one who can't say anything but like pointless and like trash, and is just trying to stomp out people. There's two different guys in there. So now, to get in more into this, they do talk about the capacity of these demons' powers, exactly what they do, and Belial is noted as the angel of lawlessness, so he does not abide by any laws. And I think this does definitely suit like what we saw with the wings. Like, why not just turn my wings into arms? Like, why can't I just do that? And then making rules for others like gravity, where everyone else has to abide by this law because they have no choice. But he doesn't have to because he's the angel of lawlessness. There's that. And then there's this very specific thing. And this is the spoiler moment for you guys that have stuck around for this entire stream so far. Belial is directly stated to be an expert wielder at Murphy's Law. And for anyone who doesn't know what Murphy's Law means, that means essentially anything that could go wrong will go wrong. And there's many facets to this. There's up to 12 laws to just this one thing. And it fits Lucifero so well. So now I have to backtrack just one more time. The first time we see Lucifero try to come into the physical world, he goes for Liebe. But he's met and stopped by Licita. Completely thwarted. He's got to go back to the drawing board. Number one, did not go right. Number two, having Dante was, it seemed like out of all the hosts, Dante just could not get it together. Dante was defeated 2 times. 2 times by people he probably should not have been able to get defeated against. While Asta, of course, would be an outlier in that specific situation, Asta maybe should not have come out with the W, but he was able to make that deal with Liebe, and Yami pulled in the clutch like, here, he just needs my sword. So, again, it just didn't go right. And then the whole Dante versus Magna thing, that was just like, dude, who would have expected this peasant just to come out of left field, out of nowhere, has been gone this entire arc so far, has this clutch spell, and then Dante, just being who he is, this narcissist, instead of making a sword or, doing some other spells to just, to neg Magna completely, just decides to exchange blows with him out of pride and narcissism, and again gets defeated. So then he goes like, okay, gotta hop over to Morris, and this was during that fight, so he's already with Morris. Now, Morris is a smarter guy, and Lucifero acknowledges him for that. He was like, yeah, you're much more reasonable than Dante. And then what happens? Morris just gets stomped, and it's not because Morris necessarily did anything wrong. It's just that whatever could have gone wrong in that situation went wrong. You had all these arcane mages just stomp on the entire battlefield, or the home of the Advent here, and body Morris. Like, nothing was going right. And then he comes out into that worm form, and Asta again is there to neg that entire descent. But Lucifero was finally able to manage, and that's why he was so upset with Asta. It was like, dude, so you were the one that tried to stop me from manifesting. And that's why he got super angry. And so every time he tried to kill Asta, the one thing that could kill him on this battlefield, that one thing kept slipping by him over some crazy shit, like, stars. Captains just interfering. Like, he just could not get to his mission. And it just falls under Murphy's Law. So what I'm saying here is that he is both a victim and a wielder of Murphy's Law. So when that surprise attack happens with Noct and Yami, like, in that case, what could go wrong? Because he had 2 options. He noted there were 2 options. But no one, not even Lucifer, was just like, he can make his star brighter to make my shadow bigger so that Noct can come out in my shadow with Yami. Like, there was no consideration for that, which, by the way, was super smart. I was like, damn, that was like a 16,000 IQ move. But again, things that can go wrong will absolutely go wrong in Murphy's Law. And for that case, it worked against them. So those arms came out or replaced his wings to stop them, and he definitely incapacitated them. So to me, for right now, this definitely looks like more of a Belial situation. And if that is the case, we have a lot more room for growth here, you guys. So what that tells us is that this is really legitimately the second level of Supreme Devils here. And that is what we want. So while it might end Asta's kind of journey and Licita's journey and Liu Bei's journey as far as like getting revenge, it does not end the journey as far as the threat is still there. There's Megicula, there's Beelzebub, and there's still possibly even the brother to this guy who would be the actual Lucifer, or rather Satan in this. And it could get really ugly really fast. Now, the other interesting thing is that Megicula... So, that was the other point. Just before I get into the Megicula thing. Lilith and Nama, when they came out, what did they say? Like, oh, that's Lucifero's toy. They wanted to kill Dante. Like, they wanted to fight him and toy with him, but ultimately kill him. But they understood that if they did, that Lucifero would definitely be upset. But why be upset at a devil? And at this point, there's no plan for Lucifero's advent through Morris, like a sped up advent. There's no plan for that. Not one that they know of for sure. So why be scared of a devil that won't come out for another 6 seals, which is 6 whole days? And there's no way this advent is going on for 6 whole days. There's just no way at all. So why be scared unless he was in the next seal? I mean, that's just my take. So, as far as Megicula goes, it did not seem, it was very blatant that she wanted to sneak around Lucifero here. And I don't know. I just have headcanon for it. But again, if this is the original King of Hell, and for those of you that have been following me for a while, I do 100% believe that Megicula in this story would be the Shekinah, which is the bride of God, or when she falls, would be the bride of Beelzebub, or Lucifer. So, if this is the original king, there could be like this really fucked up like love triangle. Like, he might have feelings, but it's like a toxic relationship sort of thing. But the whole importance of having a female devil here, like Megicula, is that there's some life-bringing qualities to this, and that is the driving force of the clip-art. And the thing is that Beelzebub is the Dark Father. So together they combine, and in between the two on the tree, they create the Abyss, which is where life ends, but there is also rebirth. So, I mean, that's kind of a pretty good amount of, like, what that other video is going to be about. I mean, you guys tell me what you think, of course, in the comments here while I scroll. But, well, that's a really cool thumbnail. But, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But there's also some other stuff, too. As far as Morris's possession went, it did have a lot of Leviathan-like attributes to it. And I say this only because Leviathan works with Belial and some others, and Jamalak is on that list as well. So I'm thinking that we're not really getting these last 3 devils. Truly, we aren't. We're getting some lower level devils that want out. But we can't really solidify any of this until we get an agenda from any of the devils. But like I said, we just don't have that yet. That That's a cool thumbnail too. Let me look at the chat really quick. I don't think I saw it move. We have nothing on either Lucifugus and the Time Devil, so we also got to deal with them. Right. Right. As far as Lucifugus goes, so I do want to say this. As far as Belial goes and everything that I described about him, I do want to point out that this could also fit for someone like Asta and could even better fit Lucifugus. Now, we don't know much about Lucifugus, but Belial also being translated to worthlessness or one without a god, it fits Lucifugus quite well as the Prince of Darkness. What was I going to say? Oh, but as far as the worthlessness stuff goes, have any of you like heard any lore about Lucifer and worms? Like, I don't know. I guess maybe we can say that was a serpent that he turned into. Let's stretch it like that. But that was clearly a fucking worm. But if we give it a worm, what a worthless creature, right? And dirty, completely dirty, filled with demonic bodies of just grossness. So that's kind of my take on it. But I think it would also just be cool if we had Morris with Leviathan, then Belial here with Dante, and some of the other crowned princes of hell. I think that would be dope. I did talk about the Time Devil on Twitter, though. I think that's an interesting conversation because, number one, I would hate if Julius was the Time Devil. I would hate that, but as far as things are looking, it's looking like that's the line we're going in. I would also hate if the Time Devil looked exactly like Julius, where he just manipulates time, stops it, or moves it forward. Yeah, they could throw in a twist like, yep, he can also go back in time and blah, blah, blah. But that's so 2D for me, and I don't know. I like to make things complicated. I do feel it would make the story better if, oh yeah, that's cool. It would make the story better if the Time Devil had manipulation powers over causality instead of just time. And I think that's just a really cool attribute to have. Like, if you can see sorry. You're interested in the Archangel Biashing science fiction about angels in space? Cool, maybe. What was I saying? Damn it, I hate when I do this. Oh shit, I forgot what I was saying completely. Yep, no, it's gone. Sorry. I got sidetracked by this. I just want to see what they're saying. Oh, sorry. Causality and all that good stuff. Okay. So, if I think it'd be really cool if the Time Devil isn't like this overpowering force as like I can just manipulate time, do whatever I want with it. I think it would be cool to have some type of limit, but this limit is also just still vastly powerful. So imagine for any creators out there, like you're in post, you're editing a video. The video's already been done. You've hit 0, 0, 0 to 15 minutes and 31 seconds. Now within that time, you have that to manipulate. That is the span of your power. Now you don't know what happens in the future. You have no foretelling of what goes on, but beyond 15 minutes and 31 seconds. However, we can lengthen this time by adding events in there, like putting in like a snippet of another video inside of your video. So that 15 minutes and 31 seconds now becomes 15 minutes and 40 seconds. And gives the video a different feel. Now, the end of this video, let's just shift it now. The end of this video is now going to shift the more you insert or omit things from the beginning to the end. So, let's see, what can we do here? If the end of my video is me killing a spider, right? And within the time frame of 15 minutes and 31 seconds, I go to the 6-minute mark and I go like, oh, you know what? This is where I left the door open for a little bit too long, and that's probably when the spider came in. So I take that 6 minutes up to, let's say, 6 minutes and 3 seconds. I crop that out and I erase it, and then I put the video back together. And now it's 15 minutes and, well, I don't know, 28 seconds. But now the end changes to where I'm not killing a spider anymore, because that spider never had the chance to crawl in the door to get on my wall for me to kill it. So I hope that makes sense. And I think that makes for a much better time devil, because you're not just manipulating time. And even if you were able to reverse time, the cause of events has been fully manipulated and shifted. So I think it would be really, really smart for a devil like that to lay in wait. Like, let's just see what happens. Because once I use my power, I may not be able to use it for like a specific span of time. So Lucifero getting defeated. Now, if this is like the actual Lucifer and he's actually down, and Adremalite can't do anything about this, then maybe the Time Devil can be like, all right. So essentially the downfall of Lucifero being defeated here is because this kid was essentially able to achieve devil union. Now, if we can take out this slot of time where Asta and Noct trained and attained devil union, or just cancel out Noct being able to do that at all, and also relay the plans of the Clipbot to the Clover Kingdom, then that makes the second go much better for them, because this time they would have to go in blind. That whole assault team would have to be put together on a whim, without any foreknowledge of what the Triad can really do, and what the Clipbot is going to entail, and the span of time it's going to take for it to be fully active. It really puts them in a bad place. And then if Oz is unable to achieve union, all these devils would still be alive. So, I mean, if imagining it that way, this Time Devil can come in really clutch. But again, that's just me taking a shonen and making it like something much more complicated than it probably actually is. But that's just where my personal interests lie. I don't know. Let me finally just read what's on the screen right now. The great scholar Solomon taught the gods and created by what? It creates what? By a belief in them. That is, a man who believes in a god creates a god. Okay, yeah. Most people are not comfortable with this philosophy because the omnipotence of the god is the single greatest allure the divine can have. The one real reason to believe is to put your faith in something greater than your faith, and something greater than yourself. And if you have yourself created a god, it cannot be greater than you. Yeah, I get that. I'm just very iffy on this source, but yeah, that's supposed to be what makes humans the supreme race here. Oh, I don't want to go home because there's probably going to be sketchy stuff here. Let's see. Oh, let's talk about this for a minute. I don't read One Piece, you guys, but I do want to say this. I think that this looks bad. Like, I think this particular drawing looks good, but this actual transformation for Luffy doesn't look great for me. I also don't read it, so maybe it's just on point and I'm taking it out of context. But man, I just don't like it. Yeah, he just looks like he's cosplaying a Super Saiyan. Like, yeah, and it's just not working. Like, he took like a bunch of yarn and like, brush it with like a comb to make it all frayed and put it on his head and his eyebrows. I don't know if I like it. I don't know about that one. Oh, by the way, have you guys been reading Kaiju number 8? Because, man, that is the series we need to be talking about. This last chapter was nuts. Also, Sakamoto Days was pretty good. It wasn't like the best one, but they're just setting up. It was a setup chapter. Hello, Shelly. Anything you guys would like me to talk about, or anyone we should visit here? Just let me know in the comments. Uh, dude, what? I legit only follow people that like read anime, so I don't know how I get so much like NSFW stuff on my timeline. But Sundays seem to be like the like typical horny days for my timeline, so I'm just trying to be careful here. Let's see what Nate is saying here. Calling everyone a fake Black Clover fan for criticizing something they don't like in this series that happened is dumb, but the way some of y'all switch up, oh, each chapter is crazy to see. That's all. True. That's a fact. I don't get the whole fake fan argument. I remember, like almost a year ago. No, it was a year ago. I had made a comment about Mario Leona not being like a cool person at all, and she's not. I stand by it to this day. But that was the one day I remember community completely turned on me. I was getting called a fake fan. I wasn't reading the series all of a sudden. But like you look back at everything Mario Leona's done, she's not like an exemplary human being. She's not evil, but I mean, I she really didn't care about Yami or William at all. Like what a shitty thing. She's not the best person ever, and I mean there has to be a reason why. Like I don't know. I won't get back into it, but this fandom has maybe it's just like the fringe fandom. Every fandom has one, but that do that, that's pretty annoying. We're definitely allowed to have our own opinions on what we think about certain things that happen here. Okay, done. I wonder if the reason he isn't doing crazier spells is simply because he can't. I don't believe Dante's flicked singularity. What? Out any percent below 80, or maybe he's just arrogant. Yeah. Um. Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Austin needs to keep his headband down from here on out. Yeah. I don't know if you guys noticed, but he's looking like a lot more like Guts with that headband around his neck. That's how Guts started. He had a big old scarf. So, he might become the Dark Swordsman. Never know. You never know. But, okay. Alright. So, yeah, I think I'll end the stream here. But yeah, thank you guys for coming through. I appreciate it as always, and I'll probably have that video uploaded, like pretty much by tomorrow at some point. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in.